Hooray! Well done, Sensor. Sawtooth, lovegrass and a leopard. There it is. Unfortunately, it's going quite quickly towards the south. I think this is little Thamba. Here he comes. We'll get him crossing the road here. We should get him crossing the road here. There he is. Is that a young male? No. Looks like a female. I am going to have to call this in, everybody. Except I don't know what road this is. No, it is. That's Thamba. There's little Thamba. Isn't that nice? Great stuff. All right, let's go carry on. Does any station copy me? Animal is mobile towards that termite mound with the Land Rover on it. There's a termite mound on the boundary between Annette's and Chitwa. I'm sorry, I don't know the road name. He's mobile on that road down towards the Annette's boundary, south. Look at that. Isn't that great? I'll stay with him for as long as he's on Chitwa. How magnificent. There we are. I'm just going to quickly load the map, my map app, just in case we disappear off-piste. We don't want to do that. Toby, you say you were so worried about him, we haven't seen him for a while. I was a little bit as well, I must say. The very vulnerable stages of life, these chaps. Now, Tristan was saying some very, very interesting things yesterday during his sighting of Mvula. And he, of course, knows these leopards better than any of us do. And he reckons that this chap looks much more like Mvula than he does Tingana, and Tingana's presumed to be his father. We'll just try and get him coming front on. He likes to sit on a termite mound, so let's have a gamble and park next to this termite mound here and see if he doesn't climb onto it. Come on, boy. Don't let me down. Here he comes. There he is, with his enormous ears. Look at his ears. And it's those ears that Tristan thinks look so much more like Mvula's than they do like Tingana's. Mvula, for those of you who don't know, old male leopard. He's about 13 or into his 13th year. Seen yesterday, looking a bit ropey. But if he's managed to father this fellow, who is now... How old is he now? Wasn't he a July baby? Gosh, I can never remember their ages. He's almost 2. Come on, pop your head up over the top. Pop your head up over the top. I can see some grass moving on the top. Something wrong on the screen. Have you got him?
No. Do you have a picture?
No. I have a picture here, yes. There, he's on the...
I don't have a picture.
Louise, have you still got a picture? Senzo has no picture on the camera. Have you got no picture?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, all right. Let's hand you over to old Steve while we sort out our problem, because Senzo's going to struggle to film this animal without being able to see it. There is the spotted cat indeed, sitting on his termite mound, as is his wont. Magnificent fellow that he is. Just surveying his domain. Now, the comparison between him and Mvula is very interesting, as is the comparison between him and Hosana. Now, I always said that I thought Mvula wasn't a very big male leopard. I maintain that. I think he's a smallish male, and I think also that, if I'm not mistaken, I cannot remember these leopards' ages. Of course, Hosana is about to turn 2. This chap is isn't he slightly older? Louise, do you remember? Or is he slightly younger? I can't believe I don't remember that. That's right, you know, he's in fact slightly younger. But he's much smaller than Hosana, and he's not nearly as thick-set. And I wonder if that doesn't say something about his parentage. If that sneaky fellow Mvula didn't manage to father him. I think I've told them I'm on the wrong road, which is a little bit. I did say I should turn north, didn't I? All right. The great joy is that the Masai Mara is with us now. We're going to hand you over to Ralph Kirsten, who I'm sure is very excited to be joining us. He is, of course, now sitting with some scavengers. Right, well, we're back here. Of course, Ralph has no audio, which, of course, is a very unusual situation for Ralph to find himself in, because you can normally hear Ralph from quite a distance away. I'm sure they'll fix that problem shortly. It's probably got something to do with a mouse click that needs to be clicked or done, or I don't know, something like that. Or Ralph's just got to turn his microphone on. I know this isn't the best view of Thamba, but I'm pretty sure that he will, from time to time, turn his head towards us, which will be very nice. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. I mean, many of you, of course, have been watching these leopards for a great length of time. And Barbara, you're saying that you think that he has Mvula's eyes. Now, there's nothing more dangerous, of course, than doing what we're doing now, which is to say, well, this leopard's got similar characteristics. He looks like his dad, or he looks like Mvula. But it is quite fun. I mean, we'd never know until we did a genetic test, you know, if we did a proper paternity test. And that will eventually be possible. I think somebody's actually doing that, and we have, of course, his scat, and we've definitely got Mvula's scat. So that will be done. But it's lovely to just think about how these things happen. And, of course, it's through the outlandish theories that we come up with as lay people that a lot of the great science is done. So there's nothing wrong with us enjoying a bit of wild theorizing about his parentage, or anything else about him, actually. What a fun little fellow he is. Now, the reason I say that he looks serious, he's not giving us a serious look at the moment, but if you look at him dead straight on, he has got a face that says, I'm not here for a haircut, I'm here for very sensible and serious reasons. Whereas Hosanna, to me, looks mischievous. And Hosanna, for those of you who don't know, like I say, just about 2 years old. So this guy born in July 2016. The reason I keep misidentifying or misinterpreting his age, of course, is that his mother's already had another cub, which is quite unusual for him to be independent at 18 months. And of course it was before that, because it was 16 months. That little cub is now 8 weeks old. That is quite unusual. But not unusual, quite interestingly, for his sister, or her sister, Tandi's sister. Shadow often mates very quickly after, or soon after, her cubs are born. Yeah, Michael, I agree with you. You reckon that he just looks like his mum, with the green eyes, that same kind of dark nose and long face. Yeah, I agree. He does look like his mother. He's got a slightly softer face than his mother. His mother, Thandi and Shadow, have got harsh faces. When they look at you, it's not a comfortable feeling. Whereas when he looks at you, I feel it's a bit more comfortable. Yeah, Anna Marie, I don't know. You say, why does it take so long for us to get results from the DNA scat samples? I suspect it's got quite a lot to do with the time it takes for the actual paper to be published, and then it will be reviewed and put into, sent to various obscure scientific journals that will be read by 2 or 3 people before it eventually makes its way into the popular, what should we say, the popular writings. And it's quite interesting, somebody who's doing quite a lot to change that approach of scientists, and Panthera's been great. I mean, don't get me wrong, their research is fantastic, and they've really made a massive contribution to the conservation of big cats around the world. But someone like Lee Berger, who is the paleoanthropologist of Wits University here in Johannesburg, has thrown his discipline on its head by publishing data as soon as it becomes available, even before it's been interpreted. And he's put it out into the public domain and said, right, let's interpret. Let's anybody who has the experience have a go at this data, and let's do this together, as opposed to keeping it within the narrow scientific community. And I think that there's probably an element of that, just making sure with Panthera that everything they do is tickety-boo, and the right people have reviewed it and had a look at it before it gets published out into the sort of popular press. So I think that's probably why it's taking so long, because we've been collecting dung samples for years now. He's keeping an eye out. I wonder if he wasn't on the hunt when those impala saw him. I also think that the only reason we are seeing him now is that we got out of the car to look at the sawtooth lovegrass with a microscope, and we disturbed the impala around there, and they ran off into the thicket. And I think they flushed him out of the thicket, and that's why we're seeing him. So indirectly, Senzo found us this leopard today by insisting that we bring the microscope with us. Thank you, Senzo, for that. No, my pleasure. Right, I believe Ralph is still with his hyenas, and I believe he has now got some sound. And so in the next 10 seconds, we're going to go across to the great Ralph Kirsten. He's looking very chipper down there in the Mara, and we'll let him tell you about his morning.